Lots of scams out there. Got to keep your eyes open all the time. Well, Tom Bartholomew from the Better Business Bureau is going to be stopping by this afternoon on Weekend Connection for about the next 15 minutes. What do you say we hear from Tom and get informed? Good afternoon, my friend. Welcome to Weekend Connection here at the Bible Broadcasting Network, BBN. My guest is Tom Bartholomew, and he's been on the program, I think, a couple times, maybe even 3 times. I like to have him back. He's with the Better Business Bureau, and we always talk about the latest scams going around. And I know that Weekend Connection's a 15-minute program, but I'm sure we could take far longer. We won't, but Tom, welcome to Weekend Connection.
Ed, it's great to be back with you again.
Thank you so much, and I trust that the new year has gotten off to a good start for you. Well, we're into tax season, first quarter 2023, and I'm sure that there are probably some scams floating around related to taxes, are there not?
Oh, there are, and it's interesting to see just how scams are being delivered to folks now. Scammers learned a lot about consumer habits during the pandemic, what triggers things in our minds and what works and what doesn't from their perspective. So the pandemic scams are kind of all gone now, but they've taken those same learnings and tactics and are rolling them out on whatever is happening today. And so you're right, top of mind for folks right now. The IRS opens their doors for business on well, it was just this last Monday on the 23rd. And so scammers are already on board and taking advantage of that in a number of different ways.
How are they doing that specifically, some of the ways?
Well, mostly right now we're seeing it on social media, on advertisements on social media. So you might be on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, and then pops or on the right rail will appear an ad, and it's for a tax preparation company. You're going, wow, okay, yeah, I do need to be thinking about that, getting going on that, and then they have an offer that's just seems remarkable. We'll do your federal and state taxes completely for $50. Click here for details.
Mm-hmm.
And so that once you click there, that gets you into their web of, fill out this form, give us some information. And so you end up just step by step getting sucked into their little scheme, and the next thing you know, you're providing them with your banking information because that's where you want your refund to be directly deposited to. You don't know who this company is. I mean, when you're looking back on it, what consumers are telling us, they just knew what buttons to push to get me to keep on providing them information. And the next thing you know, their bank account's getting money withdrawn and their identity's been stolen on top of that.
So generally speaking, should people not click on ads, say on Facebook, Instagram, and other social media platforms?
Yeah, in general, that's a good path to follow. That not everybody that's on those is a scammer, but if it's a company that you haven't dealt with before and their company name is in the ad, just go over to bbb.org and check the reputation of that company. See what other consumers' experience has been, and that can give you the information you need on if this is something I want to engage with or something that I just need to pass on.
So bbb.org, Better Business Bureau, and we'll repeat that again toward the end of the program. Yep, tax scams for sure, and I'm sure that there are others floating around. What are some of them, Tom?
With tax season still in mind, people are already reporting that they're receiving emails and text messages. This is a relatively new ploy that scammers are using. That they found that by texting people, that's much more effective than sending an email.
Mm-hmm.
And so the first question we had was, how did they get all these phone numbers to be texting people? And they've basically been storing them up for several years. Whenever there's a major data breach and cell phone numbers were collected, if there was a hack and cell phone numbers were collected, they've been storing these and waiting for just the right moment to roll them out. Well, they rolled them out in a major way during the pandemic, and it worked for them. And so now they're switching gears and doing it, targeting people with tax season. And basically the same thing as what the social media ads were. It could be an ad, but obviously even more dangerous than that, they're posing as the IRS. And that you haven't received your tax return from last year, and you owe us these delinquent taxes, but click here to find out what you need to do so that we don't send the police out to have you arrested.
Yeah, yeah. And we should remind folks that the IRS communicates with people by mail, by post. If there are any issues of any sort, it's not by email or text message or anything like that.
Exactly. And if we can all just keep that in mind, because it's pretty intimidating when you get a notice like that from the IRS, and people are tempted to click on that link. And
yes,
that's when the bad things start to happen. As soon as you click on that link, one of the first things they do is install malware onto your device, your smartphone, and that's pulling information out of your phone, passwords, contacts, and so forth. And then they leave a bot on their way out that will basically shut your system down as soon as they're done with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and emails and text messages are so normal right now, and just communicating by the post office is more unusual, and yet it bears repeating that the IRS communicates through regular mail, through the Postal Service for any communications and things like that, and so that really needs to be said, and so that people know, because email and these text messages are so normal nowadays. So
Yep.
the one thing I guess is, when in doubt, don't, right? In terms of clicking on things.
If it's in an email, that's relatively easy. You can just hover over that link and it will disclose where it's really going to be taking you.
Mm-hmm.
So many, even major companies, are being impersonated right now, Amazon especially.
Mm-hmm.
And with offers coming that looks like it's from Amazon, or you've won a $500 gift card from Amazon, click here. If you just hover over that link, you'll see it's not taking you to Amazon. It's just code. And if somebody's sending you a link that's just code, you're looking at a scammer.
Okay, some good words there. Now, surely there are other scams out there besides income tax scams?
Yes, there are. Like you said, we could take a pretty good part of the day to talk about everything. But one that's interesting that we hadn't seen before, and actually I've seen it in action just within the last week. We're calling it a parking ticket scam. So say you've parked at a meter on a public street, and now there's new ways to pay. And one of the most common ones is with a QR code, that you just take basically a picture of this QR code, and it allows you to pay for that space, and that you put in what parking space number you're in, and then that flags it. Yes, you've paid for that spot for that amount of time. It's a convenient way to do things. You don't have to be fumbling around for quarters in your pocket, that type of thing. So from the consumer side, it can be more convenient. Obviously from the city side that has those meters out there, it's much more convenient for them. What the scammers have figured out is that they can print their own QR code, and with a little bit of tape or glue or adhesive, go right over the top of the QR code that's on that meter. And that's what I saw just last week. I was using a meter on a public street, and I looked at the QR code, and it looked like it was just a little bit askew. And I said, well, that's strange. And I just peeled it back a bit, and it was covering the real QR code.
How about that?
Alerted the city. They came out. They said, yeah, we're seeing a lot of this. They peeled it off and looked at it to see where that QR code was going to take you. And it was a website, and it said it was from the city of Charlotte. It wasn't. And that it was, here's how you pay for that parking spot.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're collecting a fee from you as well as collecting your credit card information. Unless you notice something wrong, you have no idea that you've just been taken by a scammer, and could easily end up with a parking ticket from the city as well, because you really didn't pay the right people for the use of that spot.
That's very interesting. You mentioned this parking thing. I remember when my wife and I were, we were in Charleston on a break, and we stopped at a restaurant, and this was the first time I encountered paying for parking via our credit card. Not a QR code, but a credit card. It was a first for us, and
Hmm.
I was like, do I really want to do this? In this instance it was legitimate. It really was.
Yeah.
But we took a pause for about 5 minutes in the parking lot and thought, do we want to eat here because of this? And fortunately, we did, and everything was legitimate. But again, there's just so much stuff out there, and we have to be so careful.
Yeah. As technology advances, and can make things easier for us, but unless you've, like I said, the first time you saw that, you had questions about, wow, is this something that's real? Is this something I really want to do? And that should be our first reaction to anything that's like that, and especially with the QR code. You can get a QR code maker online for next to nothing, print them out on adhesive labels, and go around and stick them on parking meters, and all of a sudden you've got a pretty good source of income for just generating QR codes.
Yeah, wow. Do you have one more in mind that you'd like to share with our BBN listeners, Tom? A scam that's been out
Yeah,
there?
yeah, especially this time of year. High on everybody's New Year's resolution is to lose weight, get in shape, and scammers know this as well. And it goes back to what we talked about first with social media ads. So if you're on Facebook and you see an ad pop up, lose weight, try this supplement, it's free. You get the first 30 days for free, and here's this celebrity endorsement. Recognizable person is promoting this product as well and how well it's worked for them. So you go ahead and click on that ad and go to a website, and wow, it looks even better. There's more testimonials and there's more celebrities endorsing it. And look, it's free as well. How can anything be better than that?
Yeah.
Until you check out, give them your credit card number, click the button that says you're accepting the terms and conditions. That's the critical point here. I know we don't do it. I don't do it. Well, I don't do it if it's a familiar company, but if it's somebody that I've never done business with before, at least look at the cancellation procedures, because that's where people are really getting hooked here. That, yes, the first 30 days is free, but then if you don't follow to the letter what those cancellation procedures are,
Yep.
people are telling us that they're getting their credit card or their checking account dinged $80 to $120 a month for 12 months
Ugh.
to satisfy what they've agreed to.
Yep. And it's all legalese, and it's all quote unquote legal, and yet they bet that people will not read, and most don't, the fine print and all of that stuff.
Yeah, it's scary just how easy. You think, okay, I'm just innocently looking at this website, seeing if there's something I'm interested in, and then that free kicks in, and you're going, well, why not? And that's exactly what they want you to say is, why not? Without even checking any reputation of this company. Again, bbb.org, you can see what other people's experience has been. And believe me, the public is not shy about sharing their experiences on BBB. So it's the 2 minutes that it takes can save you a lot of money as well as headache.
Yep, for sure. Well, Tom, I deeply appreciate you taking time once again to talk with me and our BBN listeners about these scams. I want to come back to you in a few months, okay? And I want to specifically talk about, you see a lot of things on the internet related to online businesses and ways you can make money and that sort of thing. And as the economy has been going the way it is, more and more people are looking to those types of things. And so would you come back, say, in a few months, and we can talk about some of these things?
Definitely. And I just saw a statistic yesterday morning. I was reading a newsletter that how many new businesses were started in just the last year. It was like 27 million new businesses in the United States alone.
Wow.
And a lot of them online. So yeah, you're right. With the state of the economy, that's really top of mind for folks of, hey, let's go ahead and give this a try. But boy, it can be dangerous as well.
It sure can. We'll touch on that in a few months if you're willing to come back with me, Tom.
No, sounds great.
Okay, my guest has been Tom Bartholomew from the Better Business Bureau. I trust this has been informative. That web address again is BBB, Better Business Bureau, BBB.org. You can get all your information there, and when in doubt, I'm sure you can research a particular company or person and just put it in the search bar on bbb.org. Thanks so much, Tom.
Ed, it's always a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. If you need more information on scams, need to do some research, well, just go to the Better Business Bureau website, www.bbb.org, www.bbb.org. Weekend Connection is a public affairs program of the Bible Broadcasting Network.
Thank you for listening to this feature, a production of BBN, the Bible Broadcasting Network. BBN provides 24-hour Christian programming, great Christian music, and Bible teaching. Listen to BBN by clicking the link in the description.